and he has volunteered to become the judge of the today's session. He has evaluated our speakers today. Let us welcome him to share his evaluation.
Mr. Yagnesh, Chairman of SICASA Speakers Forum, Students Forum, and then friends. I think today's session was superbly handled by Yagnesh, right? Yagnya. He handled it beautifully well, and the way the entire session went on was really wonderful. Now the three speakers who presented themselves, I think they really need a round of applause for the laudable effort. It takes strength for someone to speak for 10 to 12 minutes on a particular subject. It really takes, you have to do a lot of work, you have to do a lot of reading, you have to bring in a lot of expression, a lot of time is involved. So all the three did exceedingly well. I appreciate them. Now let me come to the individual evaluation. I think among the three, the person who had a wonderful lucidity of expression was Mr. Dhruv. Dhruv had superb lucidity of expression. If you see the language that he used, it really, engaged us. The beautiful way in which, and the style of delivery was also good. I think it requires a little improvement, no doubt. How can it be improved, the style of delivery? Maybe he can be more energetic, more involved in what he is presenting, right? It appeared that he was engaged, no doubt, but it appeared that he was presenting it as a third person. A person who is immersed in what he is saying, you don't see the person, you see only the expression. I think that can happen only if you practice it enough number of times. You practice it so many times that you are no different from what you are saying. So your lucidity language is good, and the capacity to engage the attention also is great in your presentation. Now, don't take this seriously, it's only for your improvement that I am trying to tell. I'm not comparing one with the other, there's no comparison as such. Please take it as a measure of improvement for your own personal good. The precision of expression was also good in his presentation. The depth of the subject needs improvement, because if you can see that the lone girl, Miss Shreya, she had a lot of depth, right? In the content-wise, she was more, deep. So I think you need to work on the depth as such if you want to make your presentation a masterpiece. And it has the capacity to win a contest, but then you have to do a little more research work and present some more matter on the subject. I think depth requires attention and also the time. I think you shouldn't utilize the full time that is available to us, to you. It is always expected that you utilize the entire time that is allotted to you. That is when the judges also get impressed. To impress the judge, one is, as you have already seen, all these points have to be taken care of. And among them, the most important is these factors. Depth, of course, goes to the extent that is time available to you, right? And here you are trying it for 12 minutes, so that in the real competition, I believe it is much less. So what? Same 12 minutes? Okay. 12 minutes. In that case, you have to do more research work. 12 minutes is not sufficient. Even in the real competition, if you have to speak for 12 minutes, you have to have subject matter of at least 20 minutes. The reason is, you're likely to forget some of the points. Like Miss Shreya forgot. Jaya, is it? I think I wrote it down as Shreya. Jaya forgot, and she came back. After she concluded the talk, she came back and said that I forgot this factor called mental illness. That shouldn't happen. And even if you forget, let me tell you, even if you forget, don't tell the audience that I forgot. Okay, that you will lose points over there. It does not matter. In fact, the audience or the judges do not know what exactly you are going to talk. Right? So you forget, it doesn't really matter. You can continue to present your next point. That is why I said you must have at least 20 minutes coverage so that you can bring it down to 12. So the moment you see the time, I think time expression is shown. So once the time expression is shown, you must come to your concluding remarks. Right? These are things that you have to keep in mind. The opening and conclusion are very, very important in any presentation. You have to concentrate a lot on the opening. How do I make the audience get the lead into the subject through my opening? Very, very important. And the conclusion is very, very important because it leaves a lasting impression on the minds of the audience. Conclusion. You have to factor in these two, and in between you must have enough stuff, enough material, right, to last 12 minutes. I am coming to Dhruv again. I think more subject is to be incorporated. The opening was superb. In your case, the opening was superb. He started, how many of you know that, no, I'm not asking you this. I'm just trying to repeat what he said. How many of you know, did you know that there are no traffic lights in Bhutan? Right? That was superb. And one more beautiful point that I want to talk about his presentation was, he started with that and he ended with that. He came back to that. He concluded with the same question. How many of us have the capacity to open with a particular point and conclude with the same point? And then he explained why there are no traffic lights in Bhutan. That was a wonderful job done. If you can incorporate a little more stuff in between, in the body of the structure of the speech, the body, called the body, I think you will be okay. You can make a good competitor to any great speaker. Wonderful expression, lucidity of expression was good, the style of delivery, a little more energy is required. Remember, whenever you are speaking to an audience, what distinguishes you between you and another is the energy that you display. Otherwise, we are all speakers, right? We all speak. What distinguishes one from the other is the energy that you display. How many of us, we can read, we can refer Google for the matter that you are expressing here. Do we need to listen to you? So if we have to listen to you, you have to engage us. And engagement comes from the energy that you display. Are you really into the subject? Right? So the passion that you display. And that comes when you have practice enough number of times. Practice is the key. Okay, we come to the second speaker, Miss Jaya. Lucidity of expression, I think, requires improvement. Right? I'm talking only about style of delivery also requires improvement. I think you were standing like this. Right? So all the time, all the while you are standing like this. So that shouldn't be your posture. Your hands should be just free. And free to make gestures as you are talking to the audience. And that happens only when your hands are beside. So let them hang freely. So this is one thing we need to, some of us have different kinds of postures. We keep our hands behind, we keep our hands in the pocket, we keep our hands here, we fold our hands. No, all these are to be, you let your hands go. Don't bother about them. Because these are hands are one certain things you don't have control over. You don't know where to place them when you're talking to an audience. Yes, in fact, Dale Carnegie says, many of them have different postures. So the best thing is, he says, just let your hands hang loosely beside you. And then start off with your talk. Right? And as you're expressing, your hands will make required gestures to express what you want to say. As you are talking, the hands as well make that impact. Did you get that? I think you should do that. You should. If you want to be energetic, this is not certainly the way. You should look like a girl possessed when you're talking about happiness. Did you really express that? Right? So, well, audience attention was there or not, because, and the language was good, certainly. Lucidity requires, you know, the difference between good language and lucidity of language. Good language you had, good language everyone had, but then lucidity is what you can see through, how beautifully it flows. Does the audience like the language that you have utilized, right? Like yajna is it? Yajna used, right? He kept us engaged with energy plus the language. And Dhruv also, the language, the lucidity, the way it flows, just like water. So that requires, of course, a lot of preparation and practice. And then expression. Precision of expression, I think that was good. There was no problem with that. Subject depth exceedingly well done. And then time, I think you've taken absolute time that was required. But what are the areas that you require to improve is, one is, don't say I forgot, okay? Don't come back to the point. And even if you come back to the point, you don't say I forgot, you say one more point. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, one more point that I want to reiterate. Even if you have forgotten, you can say reiterate. I mean, as though you have already said it. So that's the way you have to engage the audience. That is one. And then there were a lot of points, but less cohesion. The points were in bits and pieces. They were not in succession, in cohesion, not one after the other. That flow was missing, right? That's what I said, lucidity. And then long gaps were there. That is because of lack of practice again. And then you were trying to recall, looking here and there, trying to recall the script that you have written, right? That should be avoided. And then after concluding, you went back to the point that you forgot. Then, you know, involving the audience also. You asked a question of the audience. Remember, in your presentation, if you ask a question of the audience, you should be ready when the audience does not respond. Most of the audiences, especially new audiences, strangers, never respond to your questions. You must be ready, or you must know the knack of getting out of that, extracting yourself out of such a situation. When you ask a question, you must be ready with the answer. Wait for a few seconds, just hardly 10 seconds. Then start. Then you can start with your answer. Yes, friends, I know this is what you're going to say. Then start with that. They have not said. I know this is what is going on in your mind. So start off. So that is whenever you ask a question of an audience, always be prepared with the answer. And some of the audience, you will find that some audiences are tricky. One person will say an answer which you expect, the other person will try to pull you down with a different answer. And then in such a situation, these are all things that you should learn. I'm telling you, these are nuances of real public speaking. What you should do is, yes, you are right, Mr. Yag. Yeah. So don't look at the person who said the wrong answer. Discount him totally. All the others also will ignore him. Just look at him and then start off with him. These things happen, okay? So that's the way we can get rid of it. And your opening was good. You started with Mahatma Gandhi. And then I think overall your content as such was very good. You had wonderful points. It requires cohesion. You need to link it properly, practice enough number of times, right? Like Dhruv had it, beautiful cohesion was there, but the depth was missing, right? We go on to the third speaker of the day, Mr. Manoj. I think Manoj did a good lot of research work to bring about what GST is, right? Beautiful work that he has done. And he opened also well. He said, engaged us, say how he went into Google, right? And then it splashed different things. He talked about from here to there, kept us engaged through those. GST is such a dry subject, but then he kept us really engaged with all those points that he said, the amount of research work I went here, then from there I shifted to this side, then I went to the other one. That's the way, he did quite a lot of research work, I think, but it still needs more research to be done because you need to cover 12 minutes. For 12 minutes, and probably what you can do is, in between this research work that you have, you can bring in your own examples. In the sense, what you feel about it, or what the audience will feel about it, or what the common man feels about it. About the point that you have learned from GST. Whatever point that you have learned, what is your feeling? What is the audience's feeling? What is the general public's feeling? So if you can incorporate that, 12 minutes, certainly. Don't have too many points. In 12 minutes, see, in 5 to 7 minutes, you can incorporate about, in 5 to 7 minutes, you can incorporate about, how many points? 2 to 3 points, maximum. If you go beyond that, the audience gets bored. In 10 to 12 minutes talk, how many points can you incorporate? Maybe 6 to 7 points, right? 6 to 7, 6 points, 6 to 6 points, and elaborate on those points. Develop on those points, and then give examples. The best way to get engaged, engage an audience is to give examples, right? Examples from your life, examples from somebody else's life, examples that you have, seen outside, or anecdotes that relate to those points. Okay, any anecdotes, can be even stories. That's how you engage the audience. To engage the audience, you need to bring in examples, you need to bring in humor, you need to bring in stories, you need to bring in your own experiences, correct? That's how, because it's, when you pick up subject like GST, you have to make it interesting. Through humor. I think you kept, one thing I liked of your presentation, you were always smiling. Very nice. Normally when you're talking about GST, you can't smile. Neither the audience smiles, nor the speaker smiles. But I found you smiling all through, and I think even the audience got attracted to your smile because you were able to keep that all through. Very well done. And the way you brought about that supply, concept was really good. The way you analyzed the supply concept and how it applies to GST, how it was earlier to, service, and then manufacture and all that. Very well done. The opening was interesting. The closing requires a little more attention, because you just close. You said, I need to do a little more research and then come back. Now, even if you're closing much before the time, you must have a definite closing. It can be any story, anecdote, okay? Story, anecdote, which is interesting. You can talk about GST. How are you going to, supposing I'm going to talk about income tax. Let's see. Let's say I'm going to address the audience on income tax. How do I open the talk, or how do I close the talk? Very, very important. Always have a story or an anecdote. Now let's say the audience doesn't know how I'm going to open it. I'm going to say, so ladies and gentlemen, there was this competition in which the organizers threw a challenge to the audience. They brought a lemon peel, which was completely squeezed. There could not be any more drop out of that, whatever squeezing you do. So they brought that dry lemon peel and threw a challenge to the audience. They said, whoever can bring one more drop out of this, he will be given 1 lakh rupees. So everybody, said, everybody wanted to try. There was a bulky gentleman, he came forward, he put all his strength and squeezed the dry lemon peel. Nothing could come out of it. 2 or 3 guys tried, some more people tried, And then there was this lean-looking man, very lean and tall-looking man. He came forward. He said, "I can not 1 drop. I can take out 6 drops." So the organizers were perplexed. They said, "Come, okay, try." So he squeezed the dry lemon peel. Lo, not 1, 6 drops fell down out of that dry lemon peel. So the organizers, while presenting them in the 1 lakh rupee and the memento, they asked him, "Gentlemen, how could you do it?" He said, "Sir, I do it day in and day out. I am an income tax officer." So ladies and gentlemen, today what we are discussing is income tax. That's all. That's how we can introduce the subject. GST, think of introducing in a novel way. And then how do you conclude again? Leave a lasting message. Say, ladies and gentlemen, income tax, all of us ought to pay at the end of the talk. All of us ought to pay. That is the only way our economy can improve. That is the only way the infrastructure can improve. So we are all, as responsible citizens, responsible for the economic growth of our country. And for that, we need to pay our taxes honestly. That's all. Leave a lasting impression through the closing as well. So these are all things that, especially when you're talking about GST or subjects which are dry, have beautiful anecdotes like that. I think it's a well done job by you. Opening was good. Closing needs attention. Time, again, you have to do a lot of work. Otherwise, I think expression, lucidity, I mean in GST you cannot look for lucidity of language, right? Can you look for lucidity of language? Can you see that? You use poetic expression. Yeah, you can probably, if you are a poet, you can probably, yesterday I think I heard one person talking about GST, I mean some subject he was talking about, he put it in a poetic form. Can you believe that? Used one of the poems, Hindi poems, and included income tax or GST in that. And it appeared so nice. You can try something like that. I mean, this is to engage the audience, and not all through the talk. Don't do it, then you will lose on this. You will lose on this. These things have to be tried at the beginning or at the conclusion to get the attention of the audience, and then how do you flow, right? So these are things that you need to concentrate whenever you, and more importantly is the energy that you use. Simply what takes you to the top of the table in effective communication or public speaking is the energy that you use. And GST, you're talking about GST. GST has to be more authentic. When you say something, you should say it more. Smiling, okay, fine. You smile. But say it authentically. This is what I found. From here I went to that. That means when your voice has that authenticity, the audience believes whatever you say, even if it is wrong. That's the beauty of communication. So all the best. I enjoyed this morning, a beautiful morning. I liked all the 3 speeches. I liked even your evaluations. I think the last person did a wonderful evaluation. What's your name?
Madhukesh.
Madhukesh. I think he did a great evaluation of your presentation. I think so. We need to practice, practice, and practice. There's no shortcut to practice. Only practice. Because practice is the one thing that sees all your fears vanish. Practice is the one thing that makes your content become a part of you. And practice is the one thing that makes you win contests. Nothing else. Mr.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful evaluation. Much better of evaluation of the speakers. It was a general evaluation kind of thing, where not only it helped the particular speakers, but it moved all of us as a speaker. He shared wonderful thoughts on how we can be a more effective speaker. He shared few ideas about how you can build a storage into the things. And definitely you have to speak with that passion and energy. Only then people will, at least they will believe whatever you are telling is authentic, whether it may be or may not be. I am really moved with the way sir spoke, and it's an honor actually to have heard him here. I personally thank you, sir, for those who didn't make it here today. I feel it's a big loss for them, because we won't get a personality such as Mr. Ramlal with us on every meetings. But we definitely expect your presence in upcoming meetings also. The show is not yet over. We will have a small break for refreshment break. Then we will gather back. We have a table talk session ongoing. Thank you.